Spicy ladies. After 30, women prefer to be penetrated in the heart. 5 steps to deeper connection. That title might have raised an eyebrow, but we're talking about love that reaches your core. Emotional intimacy that hits different after 30, when you've lived a little, loved a little, and know what matters. I've been there, chasing sparks only to find they fade, until I learned it's the heart's connection that stays. These 5 steps, they're lessons from my own winding path and years of coaching women to find love that feels like home. But before we dive in, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and join our amazing Spicy Lady community by using Spicy Lady technique and psychology quotes about life, where we uncover the secrets of love, intimacy in relationships, and everything in between. Hit that button and let's grow together. Number 1. Crave the heart's depth. What if love after 30 isn't about chasing those electric, fleeting sparks that light up your 20s, but craving a connection that pierces your heart? Something steady, soul deep, that feels like coming home. I want to take you back to a chapter of my life with Jake, a guy who swept into my world like a summer storm, all thrill and no anchor. We'd been dancing around something for months, late-night bar hops, flirty banter, dates that left me buzzing with that giddy, spark-chasing high. It was fun, easy, the kind of rush I'd lived for in my younger years. But one night, sprawled on my couch with the buzz long faded and my phone silent, I felt this ache, this quiet tug in my chest that wasn't about missing him. It was about missing more. I'd been flitting along, chasing the thrill, until I stopped and realized I was aching for something deeper, something that touched my heart, not just my pulse. That night with Jake, it's the spark of this first step, crave the heart's depth. This is about self-reflection, about pausing to listen to what your heart is really after. And it's significant because knowing that craving isn't just a whim. It's a compass that can shift your entire love life. In my 20s, I'd bounce from spark to spark. Jake was one of many, calling it love when it was really just excitement. He was fun, laughs over cheap tacos, stolen glances that felt like secrets. But it was shallow, all surface, no roots. We'd plan another date, then he'd vanish for days and I'd shrug. That's just him, ignoring the hollow ache. That night on the couch, though, I didn't shrug. I sat with it, asked myself, what do I want? And the answer came slow, like a tide, depth, trust, a connection that didn't flicker out when the night ended. It wasn't a loud revelation, just a quiet truth, but it changed how I saw everything. Let me weave this deeper with a story from someone I coached. Sarah, a woman who came to me when her love life felt like a carousel she couldn't step off. She was 34, dating a guy who was all charm, weekend trips, witty texts, but it never went anywhere real. He's great, she'd say, her voice bright but brittle, like she was trying to convince herself. One evening, after he'd canceled yet another big talk. Work's nuts, she sat alone in her apartment, the quiet pressing in. That ache she'd ignored grew loud, and instead of texting him, she turned inward. What's my heart after? She wondered, and the answer hit. Not just fun, but a bond, someone who'd stay, who'd know her soul. She told me later, I'd been chasing sparks, but I wanted roots, her eyes steady with the clarity of naming what she craved. This step, it's gentle but seismic, a moment where you stop running and start listening. After 30, you've loved, lost, maybe hurt a little, and those sparks, fun as they are, don't fill the heart the way they used to. With Jake, I'd coasted. This is enough, I'd tell myself, ignoring the nights I'd lie awake, wondering why fun felt so flat. But sitting with that question, what do I want? Cut through the haze. Depth, because I wanted conversations that lingered. Trust, because I needed more than maybes. Sarah felt it too. I'd settle for less, she'd say, but I'm done. It's self-reflection in motion. Ask, what's my heart after? Love, safety, a partner who sees you. And let it rise. For me, it was scribbling in a journal. I want real, not rush, raw and messy. For Sarah, it was that apartment moment, whispering, I need more than this. Clarity sparks when you name it. Emotional intimacy starts right there, with you knowing what's true. So, how do you do this? It's not hard, but it takes a quiet space. Sit with it, feel that ache, ask, what's my heart craving? Write it if you need to. I want depth, or I need trust. I started after Jake. Nights when I'd feel that old pull for sparks, I'd pause, dig. What's real? I coached Emily, chasing a guy who dazzled but dodged. She'd ask, what do I need? And name, a heart that stays. That craving, it's your truth, the root of intimacy he'll feel when you live it. You can't connect deeply if you don't know what you're seeking, but naming it lights the way. But here's the twist, though. Craving depth isn't all warm fuzzies. It stirs fear, that little voice whispering. Will I find it? What if I'm alone? It's daunting, admitting you want more than sparks, but it solves that cycle of settling, of clinging to less than your heart deserves. With Sarah, that clarity scared her. What if he can't? But it freed her too, gave her a path. What if you've got to feel that depth in yourself first, though? What if your heart needs your love before his? That's where we're headed next. Our next step, embracing your own heart, where craving turns to claiming. Number 2, embrace your own heart. Can you love your own heart? Truly hold it close and let it shine, before you ask his to join you? I learned this one with Ryan, a man who wandered into my life after 30, when I was starting to see love differently. We'd been seeing each other for a while, sweet moments like cuddling on his couch or sharing late-night pizza, that felt warm but never quite whole. I'd dim myself to fit him, softening my edges, holding back my quirks because I thought that's what kept him close. I'd laugh quieter, skip my journaling, and nod along. Sure, whatever you want, while a piece of me flickered out. But one day, I'd had enough of shrinking. I started shining, writing poetry again, laughing loud at silly movies, and one night he looked at me, eyes wide, and said, "You're real." I hadn't changed for him. I'd glowed for me, and that's what he saw. That shift with Ryan, it's the soul of this second step, embrace your own heart. This is about personal growth, about filling your own cup until it overflows, and it's mind-bending because self-love isn't just for you. It's the spark that fuels deeper connection with him. With Ryan, he was sweet. Those cuddles were like little anchors, but I'd shrink, thinking my full self was too much. I'd mute my passions, he won't get my writing, and tiptoe, hoping he'd stay. That day, though, I stopped. I pulled out my notebook, scribbled messy poems, danced to old songs, laughed until my sides hurt. Not to win him, but to feel me again. When he saw it, "You're real." It wasn't me chasing his approval, it was him drawn to a light I'd stopped hiding. I'd embraced my heart, and that glow lit us both. Let me weave this deeper with a story from someone I coached. Mia, a woman who came to me when her love life felt like a shadow of what it could be. She was 32, dating a guy who'd drift, there for movie nights, gone when she needed more, and she'd dim to keep him. "He likes me easygoing," she'd say, her voice soft with the lie she told herself. But she'd stopped painting, stopped joking, her spark fading. One session, I asked, "What if you glowed for you?" She hesitated. "He'll think I'm too much," but she tried. She started painting again, bold colors splashing her canvas, and laughed with friends, saying, "I'm enough." When her guy saw her, vibrant, alive, he didn't drift, he stayed, texting, "I love this you." She told me. I stopped hiding, and he came closer. Her eyes bright with the truth that her glow didn't scare him, it called him. This step, it's quiet but transformative, a shift that turns dimness into radiance. After 30, you've carried enough doubts, heartaches, and it's easy to shrink, to think love means being less. But embracing your heart flips that. With Ryan, I'd dim. Don't be too loud, I'd think. Until that poetry, that laughter, brought me back. Mia felt it too. I'd fade for him, she'd say, but shining saved us. It's personal growth in motion. You live full, write, dance, be you, and trust deepens because you're not leaning on him for light. You're your own sun. He doesn't feel pressure. He's drawn to a you that's whole, a heart he can't help but want to know. So, how do you make this yours? It's not hard, but it takes a little courage. Stop shrinking. Do what makes your heart hum. Write, laugh, paint, run. I started after Ryan. Nights when I'd feel that urge to dim, I'd journal, sing, glow. I coached Emily, whose guy felt distant. She'd mute, then cooked, danced, lived. He'd say, "You're amazing." That glow, it's your power, a pull he feels. I've seen it with Sarah. Her guy vague, she'd shine, reading, joking, and he'd call, "I see you." Emotional intimacy grows when you're you. He's not filling a gap. He's joining a light that's already there, a heart you've embraced. Here's the catch, though. Glowing isn't risk-free. It opens you up, makes you vulnerable. What if he doesn't like the real me? It's scary, showing your full heart, but it fixes that dimness where you hide, where you settle for half love. With Mia, her glow shook her. What if he leaves? But it held him instead. What if he needs to see that heart to love it, though? What if your glow needs a voice to shine brighter? That's where we're headed next. Our next step, speaking your heart, where your light finds words to pierce his. Number 3, speak your heart. Can words, simple, honest, softly spoken, pierce his heart in a way that opens him up, not shuts him down? I learned this one with Nate, A man who slipped into my life after 30, when I was craving more than surface in love. We'd been together for a while, cozy movie nights, his arm around me, popcorn bowls between us. And it felt good, like a warm blanket on a chilly evening. But it was vague, no depth, no promises, just this easy rhythm I'd lean into without questioning. I'd hint, "Are we good?" Or "What's next?" Hoping he'd catch the drift, but I'd get shrugs, "Yeah, we're fine," and I'd stay quiet, stuck in that foggy silence. One night, though, I couldn't hint anymore. I looked at him, my heart steady, and said, "I need you. I need your heart." My voice was soft but firm, no pleading, just truth, and he didn't pull back. He opened, eyes meeting mine. "I'm here." And that moment wove us closer. That night with Nate, it's the essence of this third step. Speak your heart. This is about trust and vulnerability, about daring to voice your deepest needs without armor. And it's relevant because a soft truth doesn't just land. It invites intimacy, pulling you both into a space where connection can grow. With Nate, he was cozy. Those movie nights were sweet, but vague, a surface I'd skate on, afraid to crack. I'd toss hints, "Where's this going?" But they'd fizzle, leaving me drifting in that fine he'd toss back. That night, though, I stopped hinting. I spoke. "I need your heart." Not loud, not demanding, just real, like laying my soul bare. His response, "I'm here," wasn't forced. It flowed because my truth gave him a door to walk through. It wasn't about control. It was about trust, trusting my voice to carry what I felt, and that openness shifted us toward something deeper. Let me weave this deeper with a story from someone I coached. Sarah, a woman who came to me when her relationship felt like it was stalling in shallow waters. She was 35, dating a guy who'd show up, dinners, walks, but stall when it came to more. "He's just cautious," she'd say, her voice tight with the hope she held, but she'd hint, "Are we serious?" And get nothing. "Let's keep it light." One evening, after another dodged talk, she felt that ache sharpen. She didn't push or cry, she sat him down, her voice calm. "I want us deep, I need connection." No ultimatums, just her heart, clear and steady. He paused, then leaned in. "I want that too." She told me later. I stopped dancing around it, and he met me. Her eyes wide with the realization that her soft truth didn't break them, it built a bridge. This step, it's gentle but powerful, a moment where your voice becomes a thread, weaving you closer. After 30, you've learned hints don't cut it. They scatter, not settle. With Nate, my hints were like whispers in a storm, lost, unheard, until "I need you" rose clear, a beacon he could follow. Sarah felt it too. I'd nudge and hope, she'd say, but "I want us deep" changed us. It's trust and vulnerability in motion. You say it, "I need connection," soft but sure, and communication builds because you're real, not guarded. He doesn't hear a fight. He hears your heart, open and true, and that's what pulls him in, not away. So, how do you make this yours? It's not complex, but it takes a little courage. Find your calm, then speak. "I need you," or "I want us closer." I started after Nate, moments when I'd feel that urge to hint. I'd pause, then say my truth. "I need your heart." I coached Emily, whose guy felt distant. She'd skirt, then said, "I need us real." He'd nod, "I'm trying." That truth, it's your power, a call he feels. I've seen it with Lisa, her guy vague, she spoke, "I need connection." And he stayed, "I see you." Emotional intimacy grows when you're real. He's not dodging a demand. He's drawn to a heart that's open, a you that's unafraid. But here's the wonder, though. Truth isn't always soft. It can shake, stirring fear. What if he pulls back? It's vulnerable, laying your heart bare, but it solves that silence where you drift, where hints keep you stuck. With Sarah, her truth scared her. What if he says no? But it held him instead. What if he doesn't answer right away, though? What if his heart speaks in quiet, not words? That's where we're headed next. Our next step, listening to his heart, where your truth meets his silence with patience. Number 4, listen to his heart. What if his heart doesn't speak in words right away? What if it speaks in silence, in pauses, in the quiet spaces you're tempted to fill? I learned this one with Tom, a man who came into my life after 30, when I was learning to love with depth, not just desire. We'd been building something real, shared dinners, long talks, but there were moments when he'd pull back, his eyes distant, his answers short. I'd feel that itch to fix it, to make him open up, and I'd push. "Talk to me. What's wrong?" My voice sharp, my impatience like a hammer on a locked door. He'd freeze, nothing, and the distance would grow, leaving me frustrated, spinning in my own urgency. But one evening, I tried something different. I felt that same urge to demand, but I stopped, sat across from him, breathed slow, and said, "I'm here." I waited, no prodding, just quiet, and after a long pause he spoke, his voice low. "I'm scared." That silence wasn't empty. It was his heart, and my waiting let it speak. That evening with Tom, it's the soul of this fourth step. Listen to his heart. This is about intimacy through patience, about holding space for him to unfold. And it's significant because listening, truly listening, fosters trust in a way pushing never can. With Tom, he was guarded. Those dinners were warm, but his silences felt like walls, and I'd demand. Talk. Thinking force would crack him open. But it built a cage, not a bridge. He'd clam up, leaving me more alone. That night, though, I let go. I sat, "I'm here," and gave him room, my ear on, my guard off, and when he said, "I'm scared," it wasn't just words, it was trust, a door he opened because I'd stopped banging. It wasn't about me getting answers. It was about him feeling safe, and that quiet wove us closer than any demand ever could. Let me weave this deeper with a story from someone I coached. Lisa, a woman who came to me when her relationship felt like it was stalling on the edge of something real. She was 33, with a guy who'd show up, coffee dates, soft smiles, but freeze when things got deep. She'd spoken her heart. "I need us closer." But he'd go quiet, no response, just a nod. "He's hiding," she'd say, her voice tight with frustration, and she'd push. "Tell me what you feel." Only to get, "I don't know." One session, I asked, "What if you waited?" She frowned. "He'll never talk," but she tried. Next time he froze, she didn't push. She sat, said, "Take your time," and waited, her heart open. After a minute, he looked up. "I want this, I'm just scared." She told me later. I stopped rushing, and he shared, her eyes wide with the wonder that patience didn't lose him. It found him. This step, it's subtle but profound, a shift that turns silence into a bridge, not a barrier. After 30, you've seen enough to know love isn't just talking. It's hearing, especially when his heart needs time to form words. With Tom, my demands, talk, were like shouting into a void. They shut him down, not up. But waiting, "I'm here," was a gift, a space where he could be vulnerable. Lisa felt it too. I'd push and he'd hide, she'd say, but waiting opened him. It's intimacy through patience. You listen, ear on, guard off, and trust grows because he feels safe, not cornered. Communication thrives when he knows you'll hear, not hurry, and that safety pulls his heart closer, not further. So, how do you make this yours? It's not easy, but it's simple. Say your truth, then wait. "I'm here," or take your time. I started after Tom, talks where I'd speak, then sit, no pressure. I coached Emily, whose guy went silent, she'd prod, then waited. "I'm listening." He'd share, "I'm nervous." That pause, it's trust he feels, a pull to open. I've seen it with Sarah, her guy quiet, she'd say, "I'm here," and he'd speak, "I want us." Emotional intimacy deepens when you listen. He doesn't brace for your rush. He leans into your calm, a heart that's safe to meet. Here's the paradox, though. Listening isn't passive. It tests your patience, stretches your need to know now. It's hard sitting in that quiet, but it fixes that wall where he hides, where silence becomes a fight. With Lisa, her pushing lost him, her waiting won him. What if that listening isn't the end, though? What if it's part of a rhythm, a dance you both step into? That's where we're headed next. Our last step, building heart to heart, where your patience weaves a bond that holds. Number 5, build heart to heart. Can you weave a bond that holds, not just for a moment, but through the days, the doubts, the quiet stretches that test a heart's connection? I learned this one with James, a man who came into my life after 30, when I was learning to love with intention, not just instinct. We'd had our big talk, me speaking my need for depth, him opening up. And it felt like a breakthrough, hearts touching in a way they hadn't before. But breakthroughs don't last on their own. And I felt this pull to keep it alive, to not let that moment slip back into drift. So one morning over coffee, I looked at him and said, "Still us? Are we building this?" It wasn't a demand, just a nudge, a thread I wanted to hold. He smiled. "Yeah, we are." And bit by bit, check-in by check-in, we grew, weaving a bond that didn't just hold, it deepened. That morning with James, it's the heartbeat of this 5th step, build heart to heart. This is about trust in process, about believing that intimacy isn't a one-time spark, but a living thing you nurture over time. And it's relevant because love after 30 thrives on tending, not assuming. With James, that first talk, "I need your heart," was a spark, but sparks fade if you don't feed them. I'd check in, "What's ours?" Or how's this feel? Over quiet dinners or late-night walks, not to nag but to keep our hearts aligned. He'd lean in, I like where we're going, and those moments weren't grand. They were small stitches, weaving trust, depth, a connection that grew stronger because we kept showing up for it. It wasn't about fixing everything. It was about building step by gentle step. Let me weave this deeper with a story from someone I coached. Mia, a woman who came to me when her relationship felt like it was teetering on the edge of something real but fragile. She was 34 with a guy who'd waver, there for sweet nights, distant when life got heavy. They'd had their talk. I want us deep, and he'd agreed, me too. But days passed and old patterns crept in. It's slipping, she'd say, her voice tight with worry. I asked, what if you kept it alive? She sighed. He'll think I'm pushing. But she tried. She'd nudge soft and easy. Are we here? Over breakfast or still us? On a drive. He'd pause, then stay. Yes, I'm here. Bit by bit, he'd open. Work's tough, but I want this. And their bond grew, not from one talk, but from her tending it. She told me. I stopped waiting for it to stick, I built it. Her eyes bright with the realization that love grows in the weave, not the wish. This step, it's simple yet profound, a truth that turns a moment into a movement. After 30, you know love isn't a fairy tale. It's a dance, a rhythm you both step into. With James, I'd check in. Where's our heart? And he'd share, closer every day, his voice warm, and we'd deepen, not rush. Mia felt it too. I'd hope he'd lead, she'd say, but nudging kept us. It's trust in process. You keep it alive. How's our heart? And rest in growth, not forcing but fostering. Communication thrives in this dance. He doesn't feel cornered. He stays for the bond, the us you're weaving together, heartbeat by heartbeat. So, how do you make this yours? It's not hard, but it takes care. After your talk, don't let it fade, nudge, gentle and real. Still us? Or where's our heart? I started after James. Moments when I'd sense drift, I'd ask, how's this? And we'd talk easy and true. I coached Emily, whose guy went quiet, she'd nudge. Are we here? Over coffee, and he'd open. I'm in. That tending, it's intimacy growing, a pull he feels. I've seen it with Sarah, her guy wavering, she'd say. Still our heart. And he'd stay always. Emotional intimacy deepens in the weave. He's not dragged. He's drawn to a bond that's alive, a dance you both choose. Here's the beauty, though. This weave isn't just upkeep. It heals drift, those moments when silence creeps in or life pulls you apart. With Mia, her nudges didn't just hold them. They grew them, a heart-to-heart that felt like home. It's the thread of all 5 steps, craving depth, embracing your heart, speaking it, listening to his, and now this, a tapestry of connection that holds you close. Let's wrap it up with a final thought, a bow on this journey we've shared. So there's your 5, crave depth, embrace your heart, speak it, listen to his, build the bond. I met a couple once, 60 years married. We talk heart to heart, they said. Reflect. What's your heart craving? Start there. Thanks for being here. Hit like if this resonated, it spreads the love. Subscribe if you're in and comment. What's your heart step? I'll read every one. Until next time, love deep and live fuller. See you soon.